Okay, I'm back again today. And yesterday I left off where I had completed the section on windows and tabs. I don't really use tabs, and I didn't go into much detail on that, although later on I might come back and expand the tabs section, but maybe not. My main goal first is to continue updating the book, editing it, making sure that end to end it is functionally complete, update some plugins, um, and yeah, just make sure that it's working. I realized that the first commit that I had made in terms of taking notes on Vim in a markdown file was in 2014. And the first time I was like, oh, let's turn this into a video. Like initially I wanted to make a video and I started taking notes in order to make a video. That was in 2020. And slowly that merged into something with like sections and a table of contents. And I said, this looks more like a book that could potentially be used for making a video. So yeah, I'll just get back into it. Left off here, we're adding the narrow region plugin. In a quick glance, I couldn't find anything that was in Lua or kind of the Neovim group of plugins for this. And now we'll talk about search. Here I'm going through certain basic search options. Slash and then text and enter for searching. Forwards, searching backwards. Repeating your last search forwards and backwards. I use this a lot. I rarely ever use question mark. To be honest, I'll usually just do slash search and then go backwards. Star uses all the time for search. Forward for occurrences of word under the cursor. I never use G star. Searching backwards, forward on the cursor, never use this either. GN, I feel like this is worth covering. And for the longest time, I did not know about GN. We'll select the next selection in visual mode. So let's see what that looks like. If I say slash function, enter, I'm here. If I say GN, nothing's happened. GN, GN. Well, when I'm here and I do GN, it did take my cursor over here. What if I'm here and I do GN? It takes my cursor and makes a selection in visual mode. So now I can do D, for example. So it will get you into visual mode for that selection. Which key loading up in here is a bit annoying. The way I actually end up using this is I won't use GN to begin. What I will do is use an action and then combine that with GN. So for example, if I'm here and I know that I have function in my search, I'll do something like CGN, which is change, and GN being sort of your next search. Here I can type in la. And now when I press dot, it does the rest of the instances of the function. Look at that. So when you search for something, you find it. You can do DGN to delete, and then dot will delete. GN, again, will get you into visual mode, so you can now delete or do whatever you want. But you can also take an action first. CGN, DGN, whatever the case may be. Other things you can do with search, which I rarely ever do, is you could say, if you're here and function is what you search for is over here, you could do DN. And you'll notice that'll delete to your search point. DN again would delete to this point. So search you could combine with actions as well. And then, so DN is like delete to your search. And DGN is delete the next instance of your search. And I use DGN or CGN a lot. And this kind of allows me to not use something like multiple cursors. So say I want to change function. I might, click here and generate multiple cursors and then change it. But for my purposes, I can search for function, CGN, change it to Lala, and then press dot dot. And I feel like that's nearly the equivalent of generating multiple cursors, or needing a plugin where I first search and I select all my instances. Instead, I first make my change by doing CGN hello, and now I can do n dot. So if I press n, it'll go to the next instance. I press dot, it will redo or repeat. And then if I want to skip an instance, I press n again, and I do the next instance. And that built-in functionality of Vim/Neovim is good enough for me not to deal with multiple cursors. I'm going to turn off the search highlight. And so here, I guess, before starting search, so no HL search. Anytime you search, Vim will highlight whatever you search for. And the way to get rid of that highlight is to run the no HL search command, as I'm down here. But I turn that into a shortcut where if I do g/, so slash will do search, and then g/ will do no HL search. And then configuring search to ignore case, and then use smart case. So if you search for a capital hello, it will find instances of only capital hello, but hello will find instances of capital and lowercase hello. So this is my search config. And I'll place it here under that fold, or no, under the window configuration. Indent that. And now we have these bits. I'm going to exit and re-enter. And if I search for function, now when I press g/, that is gone. G/, and it's gone. Let's look at the instance where there's multiple highlights of function on the page, g/, and those highlights are gone. Fantastic. Here I'm explaining how to search across multiple files with built-in Vim or Neovim. You can search across files that might look like this. This will search all MD files in the directory for buffer. And then you can cycle through the results with cnext and cprevious, cprev, which is called a quick fix window. So let's try that out. While we're here, I can say something like grep function. So I'm searching for function in all files that end in MD. And so now it has not found anything, probably because of the folder I'm in. So if I do this, actually, I would have expected it to find the word function. It doesn't, because there's no MD files in this folder. Congratulations, me. I think if I do Lua, it will find instances of function is looking in the entire directory. So it spits them out right on the screen first, and you have to press enter to continue. And it goes to the first found instance of function of whatever you search for. And then you could do copen command to open the window and navigate through all your searches. If you go to any one line and press enter, it will take you to that instance. You can do cnext to go to your next instance of results, and then cprevious or cprev for short to go to the previous search result. And you could do close to close the quick fix window. That's what it's called, the quick fix window. I want to make a note here. Well, let's see. Yeah, okay, so I guess I don't take too long to explain that. We're not going to continue to search in this manner. So maybe I don't need to make a note here. But just scrolling through, I really felt the need to explain that. That's fine. We'll start with installing the unimpaired plugin, which adds these shortcuts. And most of these shortcuts I do use. Well, this shortcut I use, bracket Q, either way, which helps you navigate your quick fix results. So let's go ahead and add. This is not the file I'm supposed to be in. Let's go to the bottom, add this plugin. So now when I search for the word function across all Lua files, press enter to get the results. Here's the first result I found. And now I can press bracket Q to move to the next result. That's close bracket Q to move to the next result, and open square bracket Q to move to the previous result. And this will jump across files as well. In this case, I'm still in the same file. Just to make sure, I'm just going to exit and re-enter to make sure I'm in the same file. So that shortcut, after you do a search, super helpful for navigating quick fix results. You can put items in the quick fix that don't necessarily have to come from search. Other plugins can also populate the quick fix window, and you can quickly navigate to those places. And then this shortcuts really help you do that. But so we're saying grep is nice, but telescope is spectacular. And it really supercharges searching across files by adding fuzzy searching just as a first step, but it's also using ripgrep, which is, arguably an advanced version of grep. This is what I had back when I wrote this version. See, the tag is 0.1.1. Okay, so I have a bunch of shortcuts here. Okay, let's see how this goes. I will first just start by visiting the plugin page here and see whether they've changed any directives about how to install this plugin. Let's see. Getting started. I'll just pull this here so I can quickly compare what I have. Plenary is still a dependency. Other suggested dependencies are ripgrep, and is the first party for find files. I believe I've also installed FD. TreeSitter we have installed already, and dev icons and Vim dev icons we also have installed. So no worries there. Okay, installation. I'm just reading through quickly here, and I'm not sure how to read. Like this is, it's saying use a tag or use branch with .x, and my assumption is if you do .x, it will take whatever version of that X, and I believe I had tag, so I think I will end up just using that .x instead. I pressed the wrong button. We'll end up copying this little bit and replacing that in my notes. I guess I can tell scope. And I can do that, replace up here, delete that, and it should be fine. And I do want this. I have started already with FZF native here, as you'll note. But there's a lot happening here in terms of recommended usage bindings and all that. So a lot is going on here. Let me take a look at how I explain it. Let me at least update this, see that change come in. Yeah, I'm doing a whole lot here. I'm adding this little bit, adding FZF. Let's see if the installation instructions of this plugin have changed. FZF adds some pretty neat features to the search pattern. Starts with, ends with, exact matches, fuzzy matches. It's really good. And with lazy, it does look like this line is very different from the line I have. Oh, this is using CMake. So that's for Windows, but I can use Make on Linux and Mac OS. Oh, and Windows. So why not just always recommend Make? A little confusing, and then I have the some suggested features here. The default is smart case, so I don't think I have that modified there. And these are actual overrides, I believe, but I'm not sure what the default settings here are. And so I think I might have just copied what they had from before. And then I'm not sure if I still need this line here. So load extension, I do. And so I think all the bits that I need are present here to install. And then I'm just going to go full screen here so we can see what these other settings are. And I guess I have different bindings for searching files or doing search that are a little bit different. And slowly we'll make some changes here that enhance the whole experience, I hope. But all of that might actually end up breaking given some of the changes that may or may not happen. So I guess the first thing is leader semicolon for searching for files. I kind of already have semicolon as like searching for characters, right? Semicolon F will search for a character in a file, and then leader semicolon will search for files in general. In order to do a search across all files, I have leader slash. And the idea of this is that slash does search within a file, and leader slash does searches across files. So I like using semicolon and slash for still like binding those in my mind to search patterns. And then the rest of these, I end up using leader FA a lot, which binds to recent files and buffers broadly. You could also use leader FB, which only does the current working directory. Leader FA will do all files, all recent files and buffers. Leader FB will do files and buffers within the current directory. Leader FH, fuzzy search within help. Leader FR is to resume any search that you had. And the other big one is capital K, Shift K, to search for the word under the cursor. Different people have different bindings. So, whatever floats your specific boat. Let's take a look at the recommended bindings. Leader FF for finding files, leader FG for live grep. I do have leader FG for live grep. I rarely use that, although I feel like I should use that more. And really, that's all they have here for an initial recommended set. I'm just thinking, ultimately, at what level and how far I should go in explaining all these built-in telescope features, but that might come later. I still do want to focus on search, and then maybe at the end I can have a section on like the extra bits and bobs that all these plugins provide beyond what I'm going for initially. Okay, well, that's fine. I think I'm okay with that. I do need to double check here. So I will come back into this window format. I do need to double check whether, yeah, whether my actual init.lua file, what I actually have for Telescope in my real life, in my modified version. So I have made some certain changes over time, and I want to quickly assess those. And so one thing right up front I noticed is that I did kind of manually change this to 1.8. This and this are the same. This is the same. This is the same. There's a space there, so I might as well just add that space. The defaults here are the same. This is the same. And then here I have FG, FF, FB, FF. I don't have FB. And even FF is a little different. So let me see if I can fix that. Current buffer fuzzy find. Let's see. Isn't that just live grep? No, that's FG. And then I have FF bound to something else. So let me actually look at my notes here. Oh, this live grep is across files. Fuzzy find files. And then what's FFW, which I've added? And I also rarely use, but I sometimes end up using it. It's a live grep in the current file for the word under the cursor. Okay, I mean, I do like using that from time to time. So I'm going to copy these here and replace that. This. And then I think I missed a line. There we go. That seems fine. And then I have FB, which is for buffers. That looks fine. I have FA, which is what I end up using now most of the time. FH for help, FR for resume, K for search, /, and then that's where this ends, but I end up having one more here, which I don't really use that often. Find tag under the cursor. I added it, but I don't use it. So I'm going to leave that as is for now. I have another plugin here, actually, that is not in, but this might come later. I do use this one now. That is part of my flow. So we'll see when this comes in and where this comes in. Kind of struggling how to bind these together, which is what I had documented way back when, and what I've modified it to become in my kind of day-to-day usage. Unexciting, but work that must be done. I'm gonna quit out of here, go back and just open the file I'm building, and then refresh here with all of these settings. And I believe I've added, I'll just have to double check here, FFW. So I do need to explain what FFW does. Fuzzy find. I did document it here up here, so it's like search for word under cursor in current file. Word under cursor in current file. It's not FFS, it's FFW. Okay. So we have that down. I guess I'm trying to also think, as I'm going through this, how I had initially intended to explain in a video format this big block. I think the way I will end up explaining it in the video will be adding one key map setting at a time and then explaining it one by one. I feel like that will probably be the most natural way to go about it. But I think that's that for now. Okay, so I will just end up copying this manually. I don't think we're getting, well, let's see. I don't know. We might not get to LSP today, but we'll see. Okay, back down here, going up here, adding my entire block, which now seems like is not properly something. It's broken. So in my updating, I broke it. Yeah, boy, let me go fix that. Unfortunate. I think it's because I have like so many different windows open. So let's actually just do that for now and take a look. I'll just get this aligned as well while I'm at it. Excuse me. And then let's actually fix this out here. So I did this, that seems correct. And that's extra because that line is just matching this line. So I must have copy pasted incorrectly for my other file. FF is search in current file. FFW is search for word under cursor in current file. And that's it. Okay, so now we should be fine, hopefully. And here I can copy this block again and paste it into the new Vim configuration that I'm building in order to test whether my code still works. Okay, so now that looks good. Save that, exit, come back. See, it's unfortunate because I actually need to clean all these. And now these are the only ones being used. And exit. I do want to make sure, it's because I was messing with my config off stream. So if I save this now, I come back, I do lazy, and I clean things that aren't being used. Undo here, bring my config back. It's a bit confusing, I know, but this won't happen during the video that I ultimately end up building, hopefully. And so now I have Telescope installed and set up. I'll exit and re-enter just to make sure. And here, I will be able to do some of the things here. Also, I'll quickly demonstrate some of them. So leader semicolon will allow me to search for files in the project, right? So test.lua. This setup here is making the results show up on the bottom versus in the middle. And that's just my preference. And again, I will build this bit by bit when I get to doing this in video demonstration purposes. Leader FG is live search in the whole project. So now you start typing and you search for function. I don't really use this. Leader FF is in this file. So if I search for function, it searches for all instances of function in this file. FFW is word under cursor. So if I do leader FFW, boom, it's searching for leader in this file. That actually is useful. I don't use it enough, but very useful. Leader FB will display open buffers and files. In this current project, leader FA is across all projects, so you can see some of the other projects that I was working on. I end up using FA all the time, mostly, because it just covers both cases. Leader FH will help you search for help across Vim help. So I can search for telescope, for example, and now I have telescope help here. Leader FR will open your last search. So here's help. So if I did press enter here and I'm like, that's not what I wanted, leader FR, and now I can continue. So I'm on built-in here. I do leader FR, and now I start from built-in again. So I can just scroll bit by bit. That I do use a lot. Leader slash, I love that shortcut. Slash is for search within file. Leader slash will pop up this search thing here, and then I can type in function, enter, and now these are all the instances of function within the project. And that's it. That's the basic setup of Telescope with a broad set of shortcuts, most of which I use. And then just some descriptions of navigating. Like when you're in the Telescope results, you can open the results in an open the results in a horizontal split or a vertical split or a new tab. The one I do use a lot, let's say I search for the word function, I'll press Control Q here and send all of these results into the quick fix. And now I can navigate them with my shortcut. Bracket Q is now navigating all of these results. Super helpful, super efficient in navigating your search results. And so initially I'd wanted something that would navigate across Telescope results, but turns out sending it to quick fix and then using Vim's natural quick fix navigation is just as easy, if not easier. I like Control J and Control K to navigate, which is why I have these shortcuts in the window. So, okay, so I do explain some other Telescope features here, which is what I was saying. Should I do that? I do it, and then ultimately you go help Telescope. So now that we do have Telescope here, I can say Telescope color scheme, and here navigate through the color schemes and change it if I need to. That's horrendous. One node. Okay. And then all the, Git, tree sitter, all that is available to you. I do use key maps every so often when I forget what I map to what, or where the code for that is. All right. Yeah. I'd wanted to get to LSP, but LSP is all the way down here. I don't think we're going to make it to LSP today. Let's see how far we do make it. Okay. So next we're looking at search and replace. I did look up a bunch of plugins that do search and replace across files. And I wasn't thrilled with them, to be honest. And I find myself leaning back on Vim's built-in functionality to do that. So yeah, I'm okay just covering it for now very quickly. Search and replace in a file. So let's say I want to replace function with hello. So colon s/function/hello, although there was no function on that line. So if I do run this now, you could see that as I'm typing, let's do that in a line that matters. So here, :s/function, which gets highlighted, / it immediately disappears, and then hello, you can see it changing as I'm typing it down here. You can see that changing up there. Yeah, and to replace all instances in a line, you do this, add that G, and there's other modifiers, I for case sensitive, and C to confirm each replacement, which will become very useful in just a bit. And you can combine the modifiers, so GC, to do every instance and confirm each one. Here's something I rarely use, but actually is very useful, is once you've done a search and replace, you can repeat that substitution with ampersand. So obviously I broke the syntax highlighting, but I can go on this line, press ampersand, and that will do my search and replace for the last line that I had. So I'm going to undo these changes so they make sense again. And I could do G ampersand to apply to all the lines. So let me do that now, G ampersand. And look at that. Every single instance of function has changed the hello in the whole file. So there are other ways to do search and replace across the entire file. But sometimes you want to try it out in one line and then do it to all the other lines. And that's how you would do it. You do your normal search and replace on one line, and then you press G ampersand to apply it to all the lines. I think that's a really cool feature. If you did want to apply it to all the lines at once, %s/pattern, so function, /hello, and you can see that change in multiple places at once. And now that will change all instances of function to hello in the entire file, just that % being added up front. All right, what am I talking about next? Oh, like I don't ever use this. So if you wanted, you could say :5,10s, and this will apply these commands to this range of lines. You could do something like this: dot for the current line, $sign for the last line, if you wanted to present a range in that manner. So there's many ways, and yeah, many different ways that you can apply to different ranges. I never use this. I will simply visualize, go to the highlight to the line I want, and then do my changes. So :s works in visual mode as well. And :s is really the substitute command. It's actually a command line command. And I usually don't think of it that way because you just learn :s/. You don't think about what the actual command is. How to do this across files. This part is actually pretty magical. So if you want to do search and replace across files, many ways to do it. One way I like doing it is, let's say I want to replace the word function across files. I'll first search for function, populate my quick fix. So now I have all the file listings of the word function. I'm not going to do the actual change now, but you could do cdo s/pattern and replacement, and this will replace or run this command on all the files in your quick fix. So cdo, which means that quick fixes do these commands on all the files that you have in the quick fix. And you can use I and C here as well. And C is great here if you want to confirm each instance. And this isn't just for search and replace. You could run any command, any arbitrary command that you wanted. And you could do this across windows, across buffers, and across arguments as well. But my natural flow is usually using cdo. Because I like searching for the instances I want, populating the quick fix, and then doing the replace. Okay, here I'm explaining how the global command works. And this I do use from time to time, not very often, but generally when I want to delete lines that match a certain pattern. So what global will do is it will search for all the lines that match this pattern and then run whatever command you give it afterwards. I initially just learned this, and that's how I understood the command to be. Very limited understanding. But when you break it down, this will search for this pattern and apply this command to all the lines that match this pattern. If you want it not to match the pattern, you do G exclamation mark, and it matches all the lines that do not have this pattern. So if you wanted to delete all lines that don't start with this, then you do this. If you wanted to delete all the lines that started with this, then you do this. And again, delete represents the delete command. There's actually a :delete command in Vim. So you could do something like :g/ Vim. So I'm matching all the lines that start with Vim and do delete. Except I was in my cdo, I was in my quick fix, so that wouldn't have worked. But let me do that here, and it does work. All the lines that started with a Vim are gone now. Let's bring them back. You could do other things. So you can do :g hello. So all the lines that have hello, do this search and replace on them. So you could get very granular in your editing. You could do other things like run normal commands. Anything is really available to you, and it is absolutely remarkable. And then you can still combine :g with argdo, buffdo, cdo, and all of those. So once you really internalize search and replace and the global command, it does get rid of the need for a lot of plugins that you might have. It also extends the functionality that's available to your fingertips that might not be available to you in your VS Codes and other editors. Although, again, I have not used VS Code for many years, so it might have caught up. That's it for search for now. Although once we do auto-completion or autocomplete, we will come back to do some modifications to the search setup. So that's search. I'm not supposed to be in this file. I'm supposed to be in this file. Okay, so adding some IDE-like features. The first of which is vimrooter. So generally, when you run a number of commands, they run off of your current directory. So if you're searching for all files within the project or what have you. And Vim router will make it so that your working directory is the directory that has your maybe your .git or your makefile. And there's some other options here that are probably outdated, but you can modify these to what you wish them to be. I'm using Vim router. I'll take a quick look here to see, like, so 8 months ago, that seems fairly updated. And the .git usually, so that's what I'm using, the .git pattern, and that matches most of my working directories as I need them. And if you needed to do any different, then you would simply change that. So I'm going to copy this bit, paste it down here. And we'll see an immediate difference as well. So it's not like it'll be unknown. So if I do this now, which is leader semicolon, just search for files in the project, you'll see that immediately I'm getting files that are before my directory that I was not getting before. I'm also getting these .git files, which I'm a bit surprised at. Was not expecting to see those .git files. So I might have to make some changes there later. Neovim persistence. This I do use from time to time. And let's just take a look to see. I can't imagine the setup of this having changed, but let's take a look. That's what I'm doing here. Yeah, no real change. There is an event. Which I'm happy to copy and bring into my setup here. Persistence plugin and pop in that event over there. And again, my setup here is messed up because I deleted all my plugins. Let's go back here and here, refresh, see the changes come in, and I'll copy paste this and explain it in a second. And again, in the book or the tutorial, I have it explained here. I wrote this before AI, by the way. So there's very little AI auto-completion in these words. It took a long time. It was a very slow process. I'm just taking a look here. I wonder why I did this and not kind of just use Lua to run these, but it works, so I'm not going to mess with it. I will quickly install this and demonstrate what it does. So the idea of persistence here is restoring the session for the current directory or restoring the last session. I already see a typo. This should be leader QD, not QS. And that's fixed because it maps to QD here. So leader QS will restore the session of the current directory. Leader QL will restore the last session. And essentially the session is, so let's say I have, let's just get out of here, open up init.lua, and maybe I split my screen and I open up a different file. Let's say I open up this gem file. Right, so I have this gem file and I have my init.lua. And let's say I do a QA, which quits all the windows. I come back into my project, which is this. If I now press leader QS, that did not work. Embarrassing. Maybe some mapping did not register. So let me just make sure. Leader QS. No, it's trying. I pressed leader QS. Nope, not working. Let me debug. That's kind of the whole point of these sessions, to debug these bits. I was in normal mode and leader QS is here. That's weird. It worked here, but did not work in. Huh. What did I do wrong? I'm here. I'm in normal mode. Leader QS did not register here. Very weird. Let me try Nvim Lala. Leader QS. Let me try. Every time I'm doing this, I'm overriding my sessions, which is frustrating, but okay. Let me go into init.lua. Let me open up a different file. Let me do :QA nvim leader QS now. Nope, doesn't like it. Let me try again. QA nvim. Let me try leader QL. Also doesn't work. Ah, of course. I'm such an idiot. So this event, I don't want. It's messing it up. So now when I do VSP gem file, now I have these two files open in my session. I quit Vim altogether. I come back in, I do leader QS, and voila, I'm back to my session, my working session. And that's super useful because sometimes I will end up exiting Vim and I have multiple windows open. And I want to restore my my window groupings. I want to keep them. So leader QS will get me that. Now I did copy this event business here, which prevented this plugin from loading, which prevented these key bindings from happening. I have to keep that in mind. So for now, I don't want that confusion. So I'm going to remove that from here. Okay, well, now, the more you know. Okay, fine. I do like Startify, but I'm beginning to wonder whether there are other plugins that do this job. So let me, oops, did not mean to go there. I meant to go here and search for Startify to see if there's any kind of dashboard-based plugins that I can look at on the Neovim/Lua side. What I really want out of Startify, to be honest, is the cow that says things. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this. It's this cow that says things. So every time I enter Vim and not directly in a file, it will show me my most recently used files, and it will have a cow that has a quote, a quotation. And that I really enjoy. It just works. I mean, there's no special thing there, it just works. But I don't mind taking a look to see what the Neovim world has to offer here. I'm just randomly picking them because it's just too much to go through one by one. So already where I don't see the cow, I'm like, do I really want this? No reference to the cow, no respect. Alpha.nvim. This looks very much like Startify. Oh, they have a Startify theme. Yes. Do they have a cow? So I can do something like this to get my Startify theme, but without a cow, that's rude. And unfortunate. I remember seeing a cow in one of these setups, one of these Neovim setups, but I'm not seeing that here now. And they use Startify for inspiration, and I wonder why they wouldn't make the cow available. Very disappointing. Just taking a look here again. No cow. Very sad. Let's just search for cow here. No code references to cow. Let's continue looking to see if we can't find. I already have this open. I am willing to stick with Startify for the cow. Like, I can't believe people have come up with all these themes and they don't have cow. A cow theme. Let me look at Google just for a second. Neovim Startify cow. Where's the cow? Very good. Startify themed cow sys quotes. So that is configurable in Alpha and Vim. Because I do remember seeing that somewhere. The cow's created dynamically. Let's see here. Okay, so somebody added a plugin about a year ago to add cow says to Alpha Vim. This is important to me. I won't lie. Look at that. I'll copy this block. I'm happy to copy this. And here we're just getting the cow, which is being replaced here as the header, and the rest of it is what it is. Let's try this out. Let's get rid of these windows. Here, we don't want to return, and then we'll want to just indent all that. Exit, come back in. So we won't get it just yet, but we will get it now. Yeah, I'm happy with this. MRU in the current directory, and then MRU globally. That's perfect. I don't think I don't even use it beyond this. And I get the cow. What a gift. Let's just see what else we get here. I'm seeing the same quote every time, which is not very not very encouraging. Does it have the same quote every time? Is that a bug? I don't see any issues saying, hey, just have one quote. What are you doing? Where is it even getting these quotes from? So they're all here. They're all committed here, but it seems like that randomizer or some such is not working. That's enough for me not to use this plugin, by the way. Still can't believe that the cow is not like a built-in feature of this plugin. Let's just quickly eyeball here. Dashboard. Alpha, we didn't want. Let's see what mini starter does. Vim startup. Oh, that just displays startup time. Who wants that? Fully customizable greeter. I might not have opened all of these, but now I almost have. Not seeing. Oh, there's a demo here. Okay, this is nice. Has your sessions, which is super cool. We'll come back to this. This is not on GitHub, but doesn't mean we should disqualify it. But let's take a look at this one, startup.nvim. It's just I only want one feature, and it's more cowbell. Oh wait, hello. What is this? For theme, it has old files, bookmarks, and random quote. You can open old files with the number. Okay, I'm happy to try this plugin just because of the cow. Yes. It depends on Telescope, it seems. Interesting and weird. But by this point, we actually do have Telescope installed, so not a big deal. Let's get in here. Let's get here and replace and oops. Let's replace. Let's quit, come back in. And so now this is what it looks like by default. Though this is not what I want. I don't even like, will leader FF do this? It does. I don't like that. So let's search for our theming options. So here's how we would do a theme, and the Startify is available. So let's look at init.lua. Let's get down here and replace that with Startify. Exit, re-enter last files. This is correct. The only thing is I would want this switched up with this. And how does this work? Enter, doesn't work, weird. So I just have to press 0. Honestly, Startify is better than this. Oh yeah, Startify is better than this. There's no reason to switch away. If that cow-say plugin in alpha worked, we would have a contender. But yeah, this is not great. So I am going to stick with this config. I really liked alpha. Alpha was the most natural one. Note how I stopped halfway. Like, am I willing to sacrifice cow-say? This was the most natural fit. So let's see what the installation is for this. So it's this. Let's try it one more time. I lied. Let's give it a shot. It's already installed. If I press enter, yeah, it works like I expect. It's very controlled. MRU, most recently used in the current file, in the current folder, most recently used across folders. This is the exact ordering I would have wanted. Q to quit. This is really nice, minus the cow. Sad. Let's just see here whether there's like a cow recommendation for cow. Cow say? Wow. You're telling me nobody's brought up cow say in the existence of this project? It's got to be in discussions, right? Cow say. There you go. You need to have Calce installed in your system. And then it depends on your config, but you could do something along the lines of. So this is using Calce on the command line. And where is it getting the quotes from, though? Alpha.fortune. So why isn't it built in? Just going to check my messages very quickly. Okay. Am I willing to try it? Yeah, let's do it. Do I have Calce? I don't. Will Brew install Calce? I don't want to. I'm going to try this out for fun, but I think ultimately, I'll end up sacrificing Calce, I think, because I'm weak. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not sold either way just yet. And then although this is using a different setup. Okay, so we got this, and then here I want Startify, and here I want Startify as well. And maybe I can. This might not work, but let's see. It works. It's not great, but it works. It does work, doesn't it? I guess I'm gonna sacrifice the cow because one, I feel like I like that Alpha is doing the most natural setup right off the bat, which I think is important for a plugin to do. I don't like this. Not a big fan of this. Because usually when I open NVim without any intention, I probably want to jump to an existing file that I had opened. Or I know what my search shortcut is. I don't need my startup to tell me, which is why I like the cow there in the first place. But I'm okay to switch to Alpha with just this setup. Still not thrilled about it, but sacrifices must be made. Okay, let's go on lazy. Excuse me. Let's just clean up the plugins that we didn't end up using. And maybe later on, if I have more time to play with the other plugin that does install Calce into it, I will take a look. But for now, this is good enough. So let's also update my notes with what I actually ended up going with. Actually meant to do that. And then I will need to modify all the text here. Alpha NVim plugin. Alpha NVim adds a startup screen to Vim. So when you start Vim, you can just, and the will display, the screen will show the most recently used files, sessions, etc. Oh, I particularly like the screen because it will have a cow say a quotation. And I don't know whether there's a way to return to the screen or whether it's even necessary. So unfortunate, but it does simplify what you see here. So I don't mind that. NeoTree is what I use for a file tree system. Let's just see if there's anything that's changed in their navigation or in their installation, sorry. Seems like they have a 3.0 and I was on 2.x, so yes, things have changed. And they have this block here. I'm just scanning what is available here. So I guess they were using NUI, but are not anymore. Oops, let me just bring this up here. Oh, no. No, yeah, they are still. Okay. Okay. And I had here this kind of setup, and then I additionally added, unless you're still migrating, so I think I can, window picker. Why did I have window picker here? Because I think it was defined here somewhere. Longer example. I don't think I have all this or any of this. So yeah, I don't want. What is this? I don't like that. I don't like how complex it seems. But let's just go line by line, just one more time. V3X. So I need to change that for sure. Plenary, NUI, web dev icons. I'm happy to add this, even though I have it somewhere else. That's fine. Okay, that's correct. I still want that. This will change to 3. And then I want to search for remove legacy commands. That's not in the thing at all. So I'm happy to remove that. I still want my shortcuts here. And I think that's all I need. And hopefully this works first try, as everything always does. One thing I've noticed is I'm missing a comma here. I'll go back and add that in a second. Let's exit. Let's come back. Now it's installing these plugins. And if I do liter NT, that looks great. If I do liter NF, it will jump to my file in the NeoTree, and liter NT will just toggle NeoTree for the entire project. And then if I, again, want to jump directly to my file, it's liter NF. That's good. That's all I want for now. And that works right off the bat, which makes me happy. And then let me just go up here and add that comma. And here I'm documenting some features that you could do within NeoTree. I don't feel the need to go and research other plugins. I like this one. This one works for me. And I'm used to the shortcuts now as well. This is nice, quick hit and go. Migdir, if you create a file that doesn't exist, it will make that directory for you. No fuss, super simple. There we go. Let's exit, let's get back in, and let's get it installed. Great. Auto pairs. Automatically adds closing brackets. I remember I thought tree sitter might also have auto pairs. And then I know I had some trouble with rainbow in tree sitter. And I don't know whether that issue still exists. So here's how I'll go about this. I'll search for auto pairs here to see who's doing it. So, I see mini plugins around so many times. I wonder if I should give that a serious chance. Automatically adds closing brackets. And then I have something like endwise for the end in different languages. Let's see what smart pairs provides that auto pairs doesn't. Just trying to eyeball here, take a look to see what the functionality is. And it's not clear to me scanning this very quickly what it is. Here we go. How is this not like the first thing that you have? I got to scroll all the way down here to see what you provide. Ignore strings, not complete the right before a word. Still not very clear upon just quickly scanning exactly what you're getting. That might be different than someone else. Although where it says that it's supposed to be smarter, like I believe it, off the bat. It doesn't seem to do end, right? So it doesn't work for Lua, for example, that does have end. And is it any better than auto pairs? And I'm not necessarily in the mood to try out different plugins, to be honest. Although I immediately, having said that, I see something called Ultimate Auto Pair, which I will quickly glance at. Well, that's good to know. I guess on that note, it's probably good to know where auto pairs was. And let's see if there's any other setup here. Config equals true. And this, and then what did I have? This is probably like config equals true is probably the equivalent of this, I'm thinking. Let me close that up. Let me close this up. And let's stick with auto pairs for now. And I will try doing that. I guess in lazy, config equals true will do this dot setup. Yeah, that's what it says right here. But I'm fine just adding this little bit into my setup here. Let's see, take form here, and let's copy this bit and throw it into the config that we're building. Exit, re-enter, see it install, and now I have my auto pairs. Fantastic. All right, I have a bunch of tree sitter plugins, which I will need to take a look at. So these ones close HTML tags. Although, if I recall, in my existing file, which is this one, do I have auto tag? I do. It's just I don't remember it working properly for me anymore. So let's see what we find here. 3 months ago, works with all these systems. Will not work unless you have tree sitter parsers. Yeah, these are the defaults. I'm fine with that. If you're setting up via TreeSitter configs, it has been deprecated. Please migrate to a new way. It will be removed. So that was probably it. What does that mean? It means I can't do what I was doing before. It has setup without install, which is interesting. Okay, I believe you. And all I need is setup. Allegedly. Okay, so what it seems like here is in order for it to work properly, I will need to define it differently. So very much similar to this, I guess. Right, and here I say nvim auto tag. Nope, I say nvim auto tag plugin. That wasn't supposed to flash in front of you, but here we are. And then this plugin automatically adds closing HTML tags. And that's correct. Let's bring in this. No, that won't work. It says, hey, don't worry about the event. So we won't. And then for setup, we'll do this dot setup. Okay. And come back here and see that new section setup. Copy this. And this is exactly why I'm doing this session, right? I'm updating what I had in terms of the book, testing that it still works, and going through it bit by bit. It is very tedious work. I don't really even know why I'm streaming it, probably because I get better at the practice of streaming. And then when I do need to stream other things, then I'm ready to do that. Which, by the way, I am. Every Friday, I have a episode of Product Like It's Friday, where me and a designer friend of mine, Mary, work together to build out some of our ideas over time. We do it every Friday, but sometimes we'll have in-between sessions. So, for the last month, I was doing it every day. And then we finished our first product/project that we wanted to build. And so now I'm doing the Vim book. So if you're here, feel free to take a look at some of the other live streams in this channel. And that might also interest you from ideation to completion of certain functionality we're doing. We created a Math B product where teachers can use this in order to run kind of a Math B type game in a classroom or an auditorium, similar to a spelling bee, where the math questions are auto-generated. Okay, auto tag. How do we test this? Does it work? Do I have an HTML file? Here, I do not. So let me. Oh, this is my nvim setup, right? That's fine. I could probably just come here. I think I don't want to come here. I want to be here. And do I have an HTML file here? I do not see it. So I'm going to nvim file.html and just have a div. And when I close that, I automatically get the closing div. That's all I wanted. I was missing this in my current configuration because I had not seen that note about it not working through TreeSitter anymore. Fantastic. Very happy about this. Let me remove that from here. get rid of that from there, and get rid of that from there, and get rid of that from there. Let's see if these other plugins also need to follow the same pattern, right? This thing is called Tree Sitter Endwise. I'm wondering whether there is another endwise here. Nope. Let's go and search for it. And let's see if, so 3 weeks ago, this was updated. It says no configuration is required, just install the plugin and it'll work. Not exactly sure what that means. So you're telling me I just go in here and I do this. So let's test it out. Just install it, they say. So I do this, and you say it's going to work just fine. Now it's ready to go. Is that true? So if I have something like function, yeah, seems like it worked. If I go back here into my file.ruby def lala, yeah, seems like it works. So that is true. Okay, well, that means I can copy and paste this, let me just make sure that I copy this, get that in there. This plugin automatically adds the closing end for, let's see what Ruby, Lua, etc. I'm happy with that. Let me just get this bit here. And then here, let's get the whole thing. And well, actually, this is all I need. That's all. This is the promise, right? And the promise did work. So, okay. For languages like, that's better. And then I can get rid of that here, and I can get rid of that here, and I can get rid of that here. Will I even need to modify my tree sitter config at all? Maybe not. Our next plugin is context comment string. And let's see how the installation for this goes. It just says, hey, just do this. That's all you need. Okay, so this seems like the same thing. And then this allows you to do, what does this plugin do, actually? Okay. So this enables Tree Sitter to recognize comments better. That's what I'm reading. And then it helps adjust for like commenting stuff out. So maybe we can do this together. Let me see what this plugin does. 11 months ago. Support for GCC, GBC. What is GBC? I'm aware of GCC. This is great. This is great. GCW, just comment out a word. Tree sitter, so supports tree sitter. So I'm okay switching to this, by the way. So let's just hold on to this for a second. And let's look at the other So the other plugin I have is Rainbow. I actually don't really want Rainbow. So ultimately, apart from comment string, the rest of these disappear. And then I don't know if this is necessarily anymore, but I do like the matchup plugin. And so let me see what the matchup plugin provides again. Well, let's see if the setup needs to change. Or let's see if there's a similar matchup. I do really like the matchup plugin, although I don't happen to really use it that much of late. 4 days ago, updated, so seems like it's kept up to date. Let's search for tree sitter here. What's Elvim? And why does this have to be done outside? Oh, Elvim is lunar Vim, it seems. I was going to try this out. I didn't know. Tree sitter integration otherwise is here. So we need to do this business, which is it seems like it does need a modification in the tree sitter setup, which I have here. Matchup equals true. Okay, let me see. Let me take a look. So I removed the larger tree sitter block. Tree sitter, which means my last tree sitter line is this indent line, right? Yep. And so I will need to replace this rainbow line with this line and then bring matchup here. And then that's fine. And then here, maybe I can switch out tpopes vim commentary and replace it with commentary.nvim or comment something nvim. Okay, well, look, why are there so many? Why are there so many? Two years ago, so let's just close that for in favor of 11 months ago. No. Let's quickly take a look at this, but you know, I might just go with honestly, most of these are simple enough that you don't have to, it doesn't have to be immediate in any case. So what I will do is this. I will take this, update it like this, and then additionally, I will say dependencies, not nvim tree sitter, rather what I was looking at before, which is this. And then I believe that's all I need to install this. That's it. And nothing else is needed. So I can do that here. And that should be it. Need a comma here. So yeah, let me go one by one and set these up. So the last thing I did was endwise. And I'm going to bring this in, which is matchup with my Control K shortcut. And then in addition to this, I will need to go to tree sitter and add matchup enable true. I'm thinking I'll just one line this. And then convert this to one line here as well, just to match that pattern that we have. Also a one line diff ultimately here. I need to align those. So that will actually need to be like this. Or does it need to be like this? I don't know, something I'll have to test. This definitely looks odd here, so I'll just do this for now. And we'll see. Okay, definitely not that. This for now, and then we'll see. Okay, well, let me install it here. So installing matchup, and now I can do Control K. And here it shows me where this block starts, right? So if I did Control K here, it shows me I have config, which is here, and then on line 80, I have require lazy, which I do. It's not visible here, but it helps me understand where I am in the code without needing like a code map. If I press Control K twice, it will give me the exact breakdown of every single line header that I have. So config function is 112 here, 110 here, and 80 up there somewhere. And I'm happy with that. Another thing I don't like here is how close this fold line is, and I think that'll change in a bit. But I'm just beginning to notice the closeness of that fold line and not liking it. That's fine. So I do explain Control K here and press it twice for a detailed view. At some point, I feel like I'll need to take screenshots for the book. We'll see. Or recreate it in this kind of a format. Commentary plugin. So let's see, rather comment.nvim plugin. I was calling it commentary plugin, which is probably what I was using before, but then I guess I switched back to Tim Pope's version, but now I'm back here. Or I'm here using a different plugin. Save, quit, re-enter, install, and GCC, fantastic. GCII, which is comment this indent, which I do use a lot. I'm here, GCII. Whoops. I pressed GCC by mistake, but GCC, GCII, GCII, perfect. GC down, great. Really, that's all I need, GC. I don't need to, this does have more like comment out block. Let's just take a look at that. Bit of functionality, GBC. What does that do? GBC. That didn't, I don't know. GB, G, I don't even have the definition here. Let me exit, come back. GBC. It does not seem to be doing much. Maybe it needs to be configured, but again, I just care about GCC, so I'm content. Let's keep writing. LSP, how much time do I have? LSP is a beast. It's already been an hour, 41 minutes. Yeah, no, this is not the time. Just look at all this. Look at all this. Yeah, LSP next time, folks. I won't sleep tonight if I'm setting up LSP. Plus, I'll have to see. I've used multiple different plugins in order to connect everything together. So, and then I have so many custom settings. I wonder if there are better ways of doing this as well. I have to explain so much. Yeah, let's come back later. I wonder why I installed noise here. Ah, I know why. Okay, well, thanks for joining me on this session of Random Acts of Coding, where I'm working on editing and updating my Neovim book, which takes you from like a newbie to a not so bad B. And I'll see you at a random time in the future where I will try and update the LSP. All right, let's go home.